So thanks again for everyone who came by the stream last night. It was amazing. We topped out at almost at 70 people, and it went for for a lot longer than I thought it was going to go. But thanks again for everyone who came, all the donations, all the people that joined the Patreon. And speaking of Patreon, we're going to jump into a Patreon listener question. Once again, if you are interested in the Patreon, just check the description below and join the crazy Patreon that we got with all the cool stuff and the Discord and the cool little bonuses, and join the fun. And our Patreon listener question today comes from David Cabal, longtime Patreon member, and he asks, I have a question. What happened to the Transformer staff that did the Thrilling 30, aka Late Generations line, like Modern Rhinox, Rat Trap, Waspinator, Arcee, Skids, Brainstorm, etc.? After that, everything got centralized to the trilogy for Combiner Wars and so on. No offense to them, but I miss those designs, and I hope to see more stuff like Beast Wars Inferno and Beast Wars Terrorsaur, much like in that of Rhinox, Waspinator, and Rattrap. David Cabal. So, essentially he wants to know what happened to that crew, and that crew really was that. I think I talked about it a little bit in one of the Transformer Finance videos, where there was a bit of a shift after that Late Generations Thrilling 30, like 2013 going into 2014 with Combiner Wars. And what I'll do is I'll kind of like focus on the specific designs that he referred to, and then I'll go into some other ones. Essentially, there's two camps. There's the Hasbro camp, and then there's the Takara-Tomy camp. And like, to give an example, you mentioned here Rhinox and Rat Trap, right? Now, Rhinox and Rat Trap were actually designed by a Japanese individual by the name of Tomoya Miyake. And Tomoya Miyake, like, he was like an exchange dude that worked at Hasbro and Takara, and he wasn't actually part of that main circle, but he actually did a few pretty awesome things before he went on his way and did other stuff. He was responsible for like the design of Animated Blackout, the Dark Mount figure, aka Straxus. He did the Cybertronian Bumblebee, aka the War for Cybertron one there, and of course the Cliffjumper as a result. He helped with the development of some Masterpiece toys, Age of Extinction Hound, but he's best known for the creator of the Miyake joint, aka the C joint, which is that little clip joint where you could clip weapons and stuff on everything. Best known for, like, let's say Movie Scout Breacher or Generations Lugnut, stuff like that. And he was kind of the creator of that, and just led to it being used across so many different things. And it's funny because today he's not part of Takara or Hasbro. He's kind of a freelance dude. And the last time I ever heard from him, he was at Wonder Festival that just passed, and that's about it. But he was the one who was responsible for the design of both Rhinox and Rat Trap. So two really impressive designs. More specifically, the Rhinox, because he really made that old toy almost completely obsolete, and he really brought something that looks like the animation model. And it's something that a lot of us today, we kind of display with our Beast Wars Masterpiece toys, because it really is. It's a masterpiece toy. And he did the Rat Trap too, which ironically enough also kind of interacts with the Beast Wars Masterpiece Optimus Primal. It could kind of go on his back and stuff. So there's a lot of interesting stuff going on there. He also goes on to mention like Arcee. Generations Arcee. Now, Generations Arcee was designed by Yuki Ashima, aka the guy who was behind Kissplay and everything. And it was his first ever transforming design job, because prior to that, all the design stuff that he did was non-transforming characters, aka the Kissplay stuff and the manga and the girl characters and everything. And so Hironori Kobayashi, who was one of the senior designers at Takara, worked with him to lead to the design of that Arcee. And, because again, Yuki Ashima is associated with Kissplay, but all of those Kissplay toys, like the transformable stuff, like let's say Hot Rod or Optimus or Convoy in this case, those were all done by Steve Bono, aka like Steve Bono was like the alternator guy in the later years for Hasbro, and he did like Rodimus and Optimus and Ravage and all those later designs pretty much. So yeah, Yuki Ashima, he's the guy who did Arcee. Now, here's the thing. He's still with the company to this day. He's actually responsible for a lot of the Masterpiece Beast Wars stuff that we got today. So Yuki Ashima still with the company today. It's going to be kind of a bit of a trend with the Japanese guys because a lot of them are still with the company today, as opposed to Hasbro. They're kind of was like a clean of house and a change of guard in a lot of ways with the 2013 into 2014 and 15. What was another one you mentioned here? You mentioned also Brainstorm. So like Brainstorm was Yuya Inoshi. And like Yuya Inoshi, again, a guy who worked on Masterpiece stuff. He worked on the Robots in Disguise line 2015 specifically, like Megatronus and Bumblebee and stuff like that. And he's still with the company today, but he's not really working on the Transformer brand currently. He's kind of working on a lot of all the other stuff, including that of the brand new, I think it's called Gry Liger brand or whatever. There's like a whole other brand that they're working on right now, and he's part of that. You mentioned also, let's see, who else did you have here? Oh, and you mentioned, of course, Skids. The thing with Skids is that one, there is no direct 100% person that is known that designed that generation Skids toy. Here's the thing. The design itself was done by Alex Milne for the IDW comics, and it very much is Alex Milne's design. The assumption that a lot of people have is because same thing like Alex designed Drift, and Shogo Hasui adapted that design and turned it into a Generations toy for Drift. Chances are, don't take my word for it, but chances are maybe Shogo Hasui also adapted the design for Skids that Alex Milne made and turned it into the Generations toy. Don't take my word for it, but if one leads to another, it's a strong possibility. And Shogo Hasui, still with the company today, still with Takara, still doing Transformer stuff, had a little bit of a hand in that new Unicron that's coming out. So, yeah. But then you go into some of the more Western Hasbro employees, like to give an example, in that Generations bubble that you love so much. Springer and Blitzwing were designed by Joe Kide. Joe Kide worked for Hasbro between 2007 and 2013. When that turnover happened and all of those guys kind of got let go, Joe ended up going to Lego, and now he's a senior designer at the Lego brand to this day. He started in 2014. You got Lenny Panzica, another dude too. He worked on the Windblade, like the fan vote figure, and he was originally just a designer, a product designer for the Transformer brand. He since then has been promoted, and now he's a design manager across a lot of the different brands at Hasbro, and not just working on specifically just Transformers anymore. And probably one of the big ones is John Warden. John Warden had his hand in a lot of stuff, specifically like he kind of helped partially with the designs of Roadbuster, Skybite, Whirl, Jetfire, all of those late generation stuff. And he was someone that prior to doing Transformers, like literally up until 2013, he was working on the G.I. Joe brand, specifically Sigma 6. And then he was the design manager for those. He comes into Transformers in 2013. He did those late Generations toys like I listed, Roadbuster being one of his favorite characters that he always wanted to do, along with Whirl and Jetfire. All those harder to do designs due to Bandai's influence and Poppy and a lot of other companies. And then, of course, after that 2013 year, right away got bumped up to senior design manager of Transformers that we know today. And, of course, also one of the biggest absences is Aaron Archer, who was the creative director of Transformers. So he also kind of steered a lot of the direction of the choices and the designs that were done. So there was, like I said, the Western side, there was a lot of changes. A lot of guys changed their jobs or changed who they worked for after 2013. On the Japanese side, with the exception of Tomoya, who was a freelancer, everyone is still with the company today. So it's more so that the way I see it is there still is the spirit of a lot of those toys and those designs available through previous employees there. It's more just a matter of what has changed since 2013, how stuff is budgeted, how stuff is is worked out in terms of price pointing. That's really what has changed more than anything. You mentioned here that you'd like to see a Beast Wars Inferno and a Pterosaur. I think it'll happen one day. Will it be that same upper tier quality that we expected from that late generation stuff, like that Rhinox, if you will, in terms of engineering? That is to be determined. Stuff has been very Generation 1 and blocky the past couple of years. And to see something that returns to that style would be very interesting to see, because it's been a while. Granted, John Warden, who's, again, senior design manager today, he worked on Skybite along with Tomoya, who's, again, no longer with the company anymore. So if Skybite was more John Warden than it was Tomoya's work, then it's a possibility that Beast stuff could still really exist in the modern era today and look really nice. But again, it's all just speculation right now. But it's the guys are still there, some of them, but not all of them. And a lot of them moved on to other things, again, whether it be the Lego brand or they got bumped up to other jobs. But I hope that answers your question, Mr. Cabal. And it does show that Hasbro and Takara still have some of that old guard, but a lot of them have left. So again, thank you for the Patreon listener question. And if you're interested in asking a Patreon, again, check in the description below and join us with all the fun. And again, join us on the Discord, because there's a lot of cool stuff discussed there too.